This is a sewing machine invented in France over 100 years ago. It can fix the thread onto fabric just by moving a single needle up and down repeatedly. It can even sew 900 stitches per minute on average. So how exactly does it achieve this? In fact, as early as tens of thousands of years ago, people began sewing clothes with needles, but early hand sewing required the needle to pass completely through the fabric and then be pulled out from the other side. The whole process was very tedious. To speed up sewing, a German inventor named Charles designed a special double-pointed needle in 1755. With this design, when the needle passed through the fabric, there was no need to flip it back and forth, greatly improving sewing efficiency. However, there was a problem. Once the needle was pulled out, the thread would be pulled out with it. So how could the thread be fixed in place? Actually, the solution wasn't difficult. When pulling out the needle, we just need to leave a loop of thread beneath the fabric. Then, when the needle comes down again, move the fabric so the needle tip passes through the loop left behind. This forms a loop. Repeating this process continuously creates a chain of connected stitches. This technique is called chain stitch. On this basis, inventors kept experimenting and improving. Finally, over 70 years later, they designed a small chain stitch sewing machine. They added a hook to the machine. When the needle pierces the fabric with the thread and moves back up, the distance between the needle eye and the fabric shortens, causing the thread to bend. At that moment, the hook perfectly catches the thread and quickly pulls out a loop. When the needle comes down again, it passes right through the loop. Repeating this cycle completes the sewing process. But this clever design had a fatal flaw. The stitches weren't secure enough. If one stitch came loose, the entire thread could unravel. To solve this issue, inventors replaced the hook with a bobbin. The bobbin carries a second thread. At the moment the needle drops, the bobbin passes its thread through the loop, creating a cross. When the needle retracts, the two threads intertwine and form a knot, thus solving the problem of unraveling. However, since the fabric still had to be moved by hand for each stitch, efficiency remained low, and stitch spacing couldn't be perfectly consistent. To fix these issues, designers added a presser foot to the sewing machine to hold the fabric in place. Beneath the fabric, they installed a metal plate similar to a washboard. When the needle withdraws, the metal plate shifts backwards slightly, and the fabric, under the influence of friction, moves just the right amount to position for the next stitch. This ingenious design, even 100 years later, is still widely used today.